Hi, my name is Megha. I am a DDS student at the University of Washington School of Dentistry, and I'm here to talk about my DDS journey and how I got into a dental school within a year after moving to the United States. I graduated from RV Dental College, Bangalore with a MDS in Conservative Dentistry and Endodontics in June of 22 and moved to Seattle in September of 2022. I started studying for my INBDE as soon as I moved here and gave my boards in December of 2022. And after that, I went ahead and started preparing for my TOEFL exam, which I planned on giving in Jan. Now, while I was doing this, I wanted to really get some hands-on experience and understand how the system of dentistry works in the United States. I was lucky enough to have an oral surgeon who practiced right down the road where I lived. So I approached him and he gave me an opportunity to shadow. Soon enough, I realized how easy it was to get a dental assisting license in Washington State. And so I went ahead and applied for the dental assisting license. I had to fill out a form and send in a check, and they gave me my license within 3 weeks. After that, I was eligible to do dental assisting, which I did in that practice for a few months. This really helped me understand the fundamental difference between the systems. Things are very different here at a very fundamental level. For example, starting with the tooth numbering system, that itself was something that was very new to me, and to be honest, I'm still getting used to it. Having trained for 8 years in a completely different system, it's very hard to make that switch, but it is necessary because everything here is of a different system. The second biggest thing that I found was quite challenging was getting used to electronic health records. That was a foreign concept to me, and I really found it hard initially, but it was truly fascinating to see how much data you can collect from a patient and how much it can tell you about a patient with just one click. So then I went ahead and decided to give my TOEFL in Jan, which I did. And back then you had the option of giving your TOEFL at home. Because of COVID, I think they had started this thing, and I gave my TOEFL at home for the first time. Unfortunately, University of Washington, I realized later on that the University of Washington was no longer accepting at-home tests, and I had to give my TOEFL exam once again. But that is a long story for another time. And then I went ahead, and in Feb, I decided to do my bench prep course. I felt like I genuinely had to pursue that course to really understand what is the standard that schools require you to be of in the US. And so I did. I went to Duggan's Institute for 2 weeks. It was a 12-day program, and it was very intense, but it was one of the best decisions I made. And I give this advice to everybody who is preparing right now, is for you to really get into one of these courses as soon as you can, because that gives you an idea as to what you need to be preparing for. To be honest, the only reason I did it that early in Feb is because it was significantly cheaper as opposed to doing it in like March, April or May. And that worked to my favor because I felt more prepared than I would have been had I taken it a lot later. So once I knew what to expect, I got a couple of materials for me to practice. And at that time, I was extremely lucky to be working in another dentist's practice who used to allow me to practice in his clinic when there were no patients. And not just that, he'd also give me active feedback and tell me where I'm going wrong or where I can improve. So this active feedback is what really helped me develop my hand skills significantly and kind of train my eye to see what schools are looking for here. And I was simultaneously also working on my statement of purpose and my CV, which was ready by, I would say, March. CAAPID opened in March, and it took me another 2 to 3 weeks for me to actually put everything into that application because it is so extensive and there are so many experiences and so many steps to it. After that, I went ahead and applied to a handful of schools. I was very keen as to where I wanted to go. A lot of schools would not have worked out for me for personal reasons. But amongst those handful of schools, University of Washington was one of them. And in fact, it was my number one choice. Simply because UW School of Dentistry is one of the best in the country. I moved to Seattle, and it also had like a very personal feel to it because my husband also studied at UW, and that's something and that is something I wanted to do as well. And on top of that, like a lot of big names that I have read and quoted and cited are all from UW. So that was a very big deal for me. And a lot of people also say that UW is the Mecca of restorative dentistry. And now I know why, having been in the school for a while now. It is incredible. So yeah, I applied by the end of March. I heard back from UW in August. And soon after that, there was an interview. I believe the interview went on well because I got a call from the bench. Now, for those of you who don't know, the UW bench exam is one of the hardest that's out there, simply because they ask students for very advanced procedures like molar access opening and RPD design, which for me personally was a little challenging because I had not done a single cast partial denture prior to coming here. So I really had to prepare for that. I studied, I prepped, I got a lot of guidance on that, and I think it went on really well. By the end of the day, I felt very confident. I felt like I had put in a very sincere effort, and I felt like I'd given it my best. So everything was done from my side. It was only up to the school to decide now whether I was good enough, whether I was of that standard for them to accept me or not. And if they hadn't, I would have known that I'd have to prepare a little more or do certain things differently. But all in all, everything went really well. I got an admit within a few weeks after the bench test, and I was really, really happy. And then I started school right after that. It's been a good 10-month journey into the school. I am absolutely loving it. It's been an incredible learning experience. Every other day I have to pinch myself to say, hey, you're actually here. This is a reality. You're living your dream. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I've made some incredible friends and met some phenomenal academicians and clinicians. So it's been a great journey so far.